Bonjour, mon ami, c'est Les Agents. And recently, finally, after much ado, the fifth character of Ultra Street Fighter 4 has been revealed. And I got plenty to say on this topic. First and foremost, I'm a little surprised with all of the negative feedback from people. I don't exactly know what everyone's standpoint they're coming from, but I'll be honest with you. The way I feel about this, one, I'm not that surprised. This has not been the first time that we've seen a character that has been revealed and added to the roster that is similar, not exactly the same, but similar to other characters that are already there. I mean, look at Sakura. A lot of people make the comparisons like, oh, well, she's just a girl version of Ryu. And fanboy. No, in the end, she's quite different. Ryu has more of a focus on basic zoning and space control, and Sakura's a little more in-your-face rushdown and mix-ups and whatnot. The mix-ups may not be as advanced and complicated. It's more down to the frame data and the numbers, but she's not exactly the same. And Ken is similar in that regard as well. So, if anything, she's a lot more similar to Ken. She can combo her Dragon Punch in similar aspects as him, and so on and so forth. Decapre, though, in terms of her character design, she seems pretty cool, though. And I'm kind of slapping myself in the head that I didn't think that they would add another of the dolls. But, I mean, there's one for every month of the year, people. And they named them after different, after the months, based in a different language based upon their nationality. She's Russian, so Decapre is Russian for December. But the whole claw mask thing, I mean, I'm a big Vega fan, and a lot of people are saying it's the same thing, but with hers, she has a reason to, you know, her face is kind of disfigured. Well, not really disfigured, it's badly scarred. You should see it for yourself. There's images of it. I don't know much about this character, and I'm actually kind of glad that they decided to put in one of the dolls, because I was wondering if they would ever take the initiative to do so. But I didn't want to see Junie or Julie from Alpha 3 again, even though she does have similarities. This character looks kind of scary in terms of what all of her options are. But I'll say this much, the trailer did not impress me all that much, for two reasons. One, they didn't really show much, and two, the opening, the way it came up, it was like it's making a direct Alpha 3 reference. But if this is your trailer that you're trying to use to market towards people that, one, either are fans of Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter franchise in general, or two, are not fans at all. Like let's say, for example, I knew about Street Fighter 4 in the past, but didn't really care much, and then came back around to it and realized, I was like, not only would I be surprised, like, this is the fifth game of the series, technically the fourth game, but really the fifth game if you count the patch, the 2012 patch, that not only is this the fifth game in the series, but they're making references that some people are just not getting. I mean, I got the references, but I'm saying if I were not a fan, yeah, good luck. You've already lost me. But I needed to see more gameplay, and I saw more gameplay. She looks interesting, and I'm not going to say she's a rip-off SNK character. She definitely does borrow elements. I feel a little bit of a Leona vibe from KOF. I'm feeling a little bit of a, not necessarily a Dwalan vibe, but I don't know. It's been a while since I played KOF 13. Those were like the last couple characters that I remember very much that I was playing with, aside from Vice and Athena and Mature and a little bit of Yuri and K-Dash. But once again, I digress. She's definitely a character that, if you polished her, maybe redesigned her, she could fit in a Guilty Gear game, or hell, even a Marvel game. What was the character that was saying that we were saying in Street Fighter 4 is like, she could definitely fit in Marvel, and she ended up being in Marvel. Her name is Crimson Viper, and she actually plays, while a little different in Marvel, she's still a solid character. And once again, even though Decapre is similar to Cammy, they've taken away the ground version of the spiral arrow, the cannon drill, for my ST fans out there. They took away the ground version of that, and now she can only do it in the air, and she's a charge character. I love charge characters. Charge characters are my shit. You know, one of my first characters that I learned to play was Guile. Of course, my main is Vega for personal reasons, but I use a square gate, so that not only helps me use charge characters better. Of course, I didn't find out until years later, but I didn't understand charge at first. I thought that they were terrible because you had to hold in a certain direction until I realized that, yeah, if you hold down back, then you got all of the moves. And then I began to learn the normals and other intricacies of those characters, and I like charge characters. A lot of people tend to forget that, though, when they take a look at all of what she's doing and how fast it's being done. So yeah, it was kind of a good thing for them to take away the ground spiral arrow, according to reports, and they're fine-tuning her to make it so that she's not too strong. But I just hope that the changes that they're making to the rest of the characters are good, in the sense that it will not be this, well, these category of characters profess more in these particular matchups. I mean, a lot of people were complaining about that with Bison, like, oh, well, yeah, my light knee press is -1 on block, and it's like, really, people, they're making the matchup for Guile a hell of a lot easier, and you're complaining about one less frame of disadvantage of block for a move that is pretty exploitable, and almost, it's still unpunishable to the cast. And, you know, to Decapre, I'm not too surprised to see somebody that's similar. They're definitely really stretching out the last little bits of the game engine from Street Fighter 4. I mean, they pretty much took Viper's ground pound, or at least in terms of the concept of the animation of her follow-ups. I don't know her move list, but I'm going off of what I see. I love the seismograph sound effect whenever she does her teleport attack or ability, or whatever you want to call it. I do love that. It reminds me, it gives me a Valentine vibe from Schoolgirls whenever she does her moves and whatnot, you know. I would have to see a little more of her. I've seen a good little bit of her. I saw that first of 3 at Final Round with Ryan Hart and Combo Fiend against each other using additions to like that. It was an interesting little entertaining match, but I want to see the final product. And in all honesty, if I get Ultra, it'll probably be because I've been playing Street Fighter 4 for so long, and you know, why not? But when I think about other choices of other fighting games I could play, or other games in general I could play, Ultra just does not seem like a strong pick, simply because this game is pretty much the same. You know, it's the same mentality I have about Call of Duty, and you know, for me to not only make videos but have that opinion, to be against everything that games like that do, you know, with constant DLC and the updates and similar renditions and carbon copies of the game, which EA is known for, and so is Activision. For me to complain about the games that do that, and for me to ascribe to another game that, while I like it, unfortunately is still doing the same thing. I can't be delusional about the truth. We can see it for ourselves. This is the 5th version of this fucking game that came out in 2008. We are now in 2014. And every time when they released Super, they said they weren't going to make another one. They lied twice. They said that they weren't going to make another one for Super. They said that they weren't going to make another one after 2012. And now here we are, the 5th version of this game. And it would be ridiculous for me to complain because I've invested my time in them. I'm not going to say that they are not guilty of doing the same thing that games like Call of Duty and Killer Instinct are doing right now. They're doing the exact same thing. And while I'm tired of it, I have a choice. I either buy it or I don't. And right now, it doesn't look like it would be a good decision to buy it. I'm more interested in the new Guilty Gear game. That game looks pretty solid. It's literally been 10 years since the last installment for it, and the updates do not count. So when I say the last installment, I'm really talking about the original Guilty Gear X2. Not X and Core and Plus and Slash and Dildo Edition. No, I'm talking about original Guilty Gear X2 for the PlayStation 2. Not even the Reload Midnight Carnival shit. Because those were pretty much all the same game. And whew, that game engine was stretched to the nth degree. But, you know, good times. This is back when they kind of gave a fuck about fighting games back in, you know, what was it, 2002, 2003, whatever. The game industry has changed a bit. But the new Guilty Gear looks pretty solid. I'm more interested in that. As for Ultra, I'm more concerned with the changes. If the changes are not viable for the characters that I would play, and as silly as it sounds, even though I can play about 70 or 80% of the cast, I may not be a pro at it, but even though I can play that many characters and have fun with it, if the characters I'm really concerned about are not strong enough to be able to withstand against the rest of the cast, and I'm just gonna say fuck it. I'm just gonna play another game. I'm gonna go to Guilty Gear. I'm gonna go to Skullgirls, KOF 13, and hell, if the game's even good, if the new Shaq Fu comes out and is actually good, then I might give that a try. I'm not gonna be biased because it's not Capcom. I don't give a fuck at this point. The last video I uploaded, I showed you games that were not Capcom oriented. They weren't fighting games, but these are old games. A lot of today's new games are really not impressing me. And with this, if I weren't as much of a fan of Street Fighter, I probably wouldn't give a good goddamn about this game. But I'm a casual player with a high-level player's mindset. I know about frame data and all that shit. I hope that the Decapre is not too strong, but I also hope that she's not too weak along with the rest of the cast. This has to be the final one, and you know, a lot of people are not happy about the idea of this being another version of this game, but some people are still a little excited about it. And I say to you, hey, whatever floats your boat, buy it or don't. J'en ai revoir, merci mon amis, de much of my delight.